guys, and welcome back to my channel At Home with Shell. We have just got back from a week's holiday stopping at the Ikos Resort Andalusia, which is just outside of Marbella in Spain, and thought that I would come on here and do a bit of a review of our time whilst we were there, sharing my thoughts and experiences of the resort and what was on offer. I know whenever I'm going on holiday I always like to do lots of research, reading lots of reviews, watching vlogs, and with this particular hotel I did actually notice before we went that there wasn't that much out there in terms of actually reviewing the hotel. So yeah, thought that I would come on here and film this today and do a bit of a TripAdvisor style review of the hotel. So I'll be going through, I've got my notes with me as well, so I've made loads of notes so I don't forget anything. So literally going through the accommodation, what the hotel is like, what the service is like, the food, the drinks, the activities that are on offer, basically everything that you would find at the hotel, and just kind of my thoughts on it as well. So I hope you do enjoy this video and find it useful, particularly if you are considering going to this resort. I did also vlog whilst I was there, so I will be uploading that shortly. So if you click the notification button and subscribe to my channel, then you'll obviously be notified when I upload that video as well. So let's get into the video. I will also put some chapters in this video, so if you want to skip to certain parts of it, like if you're just interested in the food or the activities, then you can skip to those relevant parts of it as well. So I will start off with the hotel and the grounds. So when you first walk in, you're obviously greeted by the reception and the lobby area, which is beautiful and has this huge olive tree in the middle. And we did actually find out that the base of the olive tree is actually real, but then the branches that they've stuck into it are fake. But honestly, it's a real centerpiece, and then everywhere around they will help you. You've got your concierge there and all of your travel services that you need. Upon arrival, you'll then go and sit down. They'll greet you with drinks, whatever drinks that you want, and then they'll basically do your check-in with you on an iPad, showing you where everything is, just telling you what's on for the rest of the week, and then they will obviously walk you to your room as well. What I did really like is every single day you get like a what's on guide. So if you give them your number, then they WhatsApp it to you every day, and it's just a PDF that tells you what time all of the activities are on. So if you want to do I don't know, like aerobics in the pool or something, they'll tell you what theming is on in the main restaurant. Just basically an itinerary for every single day, which actually is really handy. And the way that they communicate through WhatsApp with you throughout your stay is actually quite impressive. So the hotel itself does feel really spacious, but everything is also all in one place, if that makes sense. So it doesn't take a long time to get anywhere. You don't need to be bothering getting buggies. Everything is easily within walking distance, which I did find quite handy, especially if you've got children with you as well. The landscaping at the hotel is honestly incredible. I feel it's one of the most beautiful hotels I've ever been to. There's beautiful trees everywhere, the planting, so much detail. It's just so clean, well maintained. There's never anything out of place. Honestly, they just work tirelessly to keep it looking like that. It also smells incredible. So as soon as you walk into the lobby, the reception area, the whole hotel basically has this scent pumping out. I don't know what it is, but they've got these like diffusers, like electric diffuser scent pod things plugged in all throughout the hotel. Even in your room you have them plugged into the, honestly it's like almost like spa light throughout the whole hotel. I would love to bring them home and have my house smell like that too. The decor is also stunning, very well thought out with how they've designed it, everything. It's almost got like a bit of a modern Greek vibe to it, but everything is very calming, and just so much, you can tell so much thought has gone into the interior design. Each restaurant is just, honestly, the design itself is incredible. There's these big beautiful white vases everywhere. All the bars look amazing. The restaurant theming honestly was just wonderful. It felt like going into a really expensive restaurant, each restaurant that you went into. Not only does it look stunning in the day, it also looks amazing at night. There's really nice lighting everywhere. It's amazingly lit up. It looks wonderful to take photos. And then the view from the main bar where you can watch the sunset out into the ocean is just the most stunning, breathtaking view ever. So moving on to the rooms, we were actually stopping in a family suite, which is essentially 2 junior suites together with an interconnecting room. Originally, we weren't meant to be at this hotel, we weren't meant to be at a new Ikos hotel, but it wasn't going to be ready for when we were meant to go there, so they had sent us to this hotel instead and actually upgraded our rooms, which was amazing. The room itself was huge. Like I said, there was 2 of the interconnecting rooms. The bed was massive. It had a really nice sofa area, and then we had a balcony that looked out over the pool area and onto the sea, and the balcony was absolutely massive. It had beds at either end, like sofa beds at either end to lounge on, and then a couple of dining tables as well. Honestly, it was amazing. The bed is actually 2 single beds pushed together, so when we got there we did actually request to have a king size bed instead, so it was just 1 mattress, and they just did this for us. Honestly, the service, anything you ask of them there, was very impressive. On arrival, we also had a bottle of champagne in our room, which was a really nice touch, and they have a fully stocked minibar. In the minibar, before you go, if you do like certain spirits, then you can request that these are in the minibar. Any wines, we had a bottle of wine in ours, just some soft drinks, some beer, and then also had premium spirits in the little bottles as well. And prior to going, we had spoken to them and said that we enjoyed like fruity gins and whiskey, so they gave us a full bottle of JD and a full bottle of Whitley Neal's gin as well, which I was very impressed with. There's also a coffee machine in the room. I think it's an Nespresso one, which has got all of your coffee pods. Again, all of this is replenished daily, as is the minibar. The rooms are decorated really nicely, a really modern but calming feel to the room. Our rooms in particular were really spacious. We did actually try another room on the final day when we were checking out. One of the shower rooms that you get ready and wasn't ready, so they gave us one of the entry-level rooms, and I have to admit it was quite on the small side, and I think if there would have been maybe 3 of us sharing that, it would have been a little bit tight, but still the room itself was decorated beautifully. All of the rooms have TVs in there, and whenever you select your language, so for example we selected English, then it will give you access to loads of channels, and you can also cast to them. So if you want to watch Netflix or the kids want to watch Disney, then it's really easy to connect any of your accounts to the TV as well. There are also sockets with built-in USBs, which is super handy. The bathroom that we had was huge, so it had its own bath, a large walk-in shower and a separate toilet, as well as 2 sinks as well. Lots of room in there. It came with a hairdryer, which was actually a really good hairdryer, because often I've been on holiday and the hairdryers are awful. You don't need to take your own. The hairdryer was more than suitable. With regards to the toiletries in the bathroom, it's fully stocked with all the toiletries you need. There's shampoo, conditioner, body wash. There's also some body lotion, and it's the I think it's Anna Simone ones, which smell incredible. The body lotion I used every day and my skin felt amazing afterwards. As I mentioned, they've got the hairdryer, and then you will also get things like the earbuds and makeup pads, so anything like that. You get all of your towels in there, which are also replenished daily. Although one negative I would mention, one day I went to get out of the shower and there wasn't any of the bath towels. They only had like what I would call like a hand towel, or what I would just use on my hair, which was a bit annoying. My partner did ring down to room service and they did bring one up, but by that point I'd obviously already got out of the shower. And then there were a couple of times also where they hadn't replaced flannels, and I like to use a flannel on my face when I'm washing my face, so that was a little bit disappointing. But other than that, the service in the rooms was fantastic. We would go for breakfast in the morning, and whilst we were at breakfast we would come back and our rooms would have been completely cleaned, and then again when we would go for dinner in the evening we would come back, the room again had been cleaned, and they would also do a bit of a turn down service where they would turn all of the lights off, they would shut the blinds in the like the curtains in the room, they would just put the reading lamps on, and it just felt really nice. I think they even put little biscuits on the pillows as well, that said good night. Yeah, so just some really nice touches there. but I think if they do take whatever they take from the bathroom, so if they take, I don't know, so 4 flannels, then they need to remember to replace four flannels. They did also take the gowns and didn't replace them, which again was a bit annoying, but if you called room service then they would do this. But it's just tiny little things like that that were a tad frustrating. The next category is the restaurants and bars now, and the food. Obviously I could talk about the food for a long time. This section of the video is definitely going to be the longest because the food was just incredible. I've been lucky enough to eat at some amazing restaurants, really lovely restaurants, and the food at this hotel, you wouldn't think it was a hotel, the food was that good. It genuinely felt like when you were going to the restaurant you were going out to a proper restaurant that you would pay a lot for. So yeah, extremely impressed by the food there. It does actually say that the menus are designed by Michelin star chefs. I think some people get confused and think that it's going to be Michelin star food. It's not Michelin star food, don't get me wrong, it is amazing, but it's not Michelin star food that you're probably paying like £150 for. It's still in a hotel, but the food itself is amazing, and the menus have actually been designed by Michelin star chefs. So the food, there are actually 9 restaurants on site, and then there are, I believe there are 3 dine out options, and this is something that was completely new to me. And what this means is that you can essentially dine at any of these other restaurants as though they are an all-inclusive. So your food and your drinks would be included, but you get to go to a completely different restaurant in the town, which I just think is incredible, and have never heard of that at any other like resorts or brands. So yeah, that was a definite tick in Ikos's box. So what I've done is numbered the restaurants in my personal preference. I've just basically numbered them 1 to 9, just which ones I preferred the most. Obviously it's completely personal choice. Just one thing before I talk about each of the restaurants individually, you do have to reserve a time slot at each of the restaurants. We actually did this prior to going. You can just email the concierge and put whatever times that you want to go to the restaurant. I think there's pros and cons to this because when you're there, sometimes if you want to swap the days, it's not that easy. But then on the other hand, you know that all of your meals are booked before you go. So my favourite restaurant was Provence, and this was the French restaurant. This was by far my favourite. I absolutely loved it in here. The decor was amazing. It felt like you were literally in a restaurant in the south of France, but with a little bit of a country theme in there. So in here I had the mussels to start with, Nick had a tuna tartare, and then the main was honestly the best main of my entire holiday, and it was cod with a pea puree and artichoke. Honestly, it was incredible. One of the nicest meals I think that I have ever had. Next up is the beach club. Now I really enjoyed this. I really liked the vibe in there. It felt a little bit more laid back, and the beach club is actually open for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and yeah, we did do all 3 there as well actually. So there's also sometimes a DJ there. There's DJs playing at different places throughout the hotel. You'll see it on the PDF that they send you at the start of the day, and that was quite a nice vibe in there. The octopus that I had one day for my starter in there, this was a standout meal for me. That octopus, it was grilled octopus. I think I had some tomatoes and a piece of lemon with it. And the octopus itself, the way it had been charred, honestly was one of the nicest meals I have ever had. So I think that's why it's a bit of a standout for me. But they had loads of other things on there. Had a sea bass with some potatoes one evening. My partner had the pork shank. For dessert I had a baked Alaska and berries, which was really cool because it sets on fire. Just make sure you let it burn and let the alcohol burn out, because otherwise it's a little bit too strong with the alcohol. I mentioned we also went for breakfast and lunch here. So breakfast was really nice. I just had an all-day breakfast. What I like about the beach club as well is that it's actually you can see the ocean from where you're sitting, which is really nice. You can sit inside or outside in most of the restaurants, and then they've also got the lunch menu as well. Next is Seasons, which I believe is a fairly new restaurant and was new this year when they made the deluxe area. So this is normally deluxe and and can be used by people who have gone deluxe for breakfast and lunch. However, all hotel guests can use it for dinner. Really enjoyed this. Again, the setting is stunning. It's actually sat right at the front of the beach, so when you're sat there, you're just looking over the beach into the sea. It was a little bit windy when we went there, but one thing that is really good about Ikos, if you are a little bit colder in the evenings, then if you ask them for a blanket, then they'll bring a blanket just to pop around your shoulders, which I thought was a really nice touch. The food here again was delicious. It's Asian, Mediterranean inspired. I had the burrata and fruit, which they did have on quite a few of the menus, and I love burrata. And then for my main, I had a garlic parmesan chicken with some artichoke in like a lemon and basil sauce. And Nick had a sesame, salmon and rice, and yeah, really enjoyed the food at this restaurant as well. Next up is Fresco, which is, I suppose it's an Italian restaurant, which is in the probably like the centre of the hotel next to the family pool, and again this restaurant is open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. In fact, this one is actually open 24 hours a day, so if you do get peckish at, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, then you can go to Fresco too. Again, a really nice menu, really nice pizzas. Loved some of the pizzas that they had in there. Had pasta a couple of times as well, and then one lunch I had the chicken Caesar salad, which was incredible. The tiramisu for dessert is definitely something that you have to try. And then with the tiramisu after that, they brought us over some limoncello, which was really enjoyable. And then for breakfast, we had breakfast one day inside of Fresco, and the turkey club sandwich was definitely one that you need to try. Number 5 on my list was Chiringuitos, and this is the beach club restaurant. It's actually on the beach. This one is only open for lunch, and it's kind of like a Spanish vibe. I really enjoyed this. There was often a queue when you went to this restaurant. If you went there probably between 1 and 2, you would always have to queue to wait for a table, but it didn't take long, probably about 5 minutes, and quite a relaxed vibe in this restaurant. You can just go in your you know, like your beach wear and everything. And the paella here was amazing. I had the mixed seafood paella, I think it was. And what else did they have there? There was another really nice, the shrimp pil and the croquettes. Definitely one to try. The shrimps come out actually still sizzling with the garlic and the sauce. Definitely, oh my God, it's making me want to eat just thinking about it now. Next is number 6 on my list is Anaya, and I know a lot of people really rated this one and put it as their top restaurant. It wasn't up there for me. Don't get me wrong, the food was still amazing, but I preferred Provence. So I loved the way that this restaurant looked. When you walk down the stairs, there's a huge maple tree there, which is just stunning. And then there's a wide selection of Asian, Thai, Indian foods, which have got a really nice flavour. I know my partner, we all shared different dishes from there. My partner said the calamari was the best calamari that he's ever had. Yeah, just some really nice dishes in there. Next up is Oliver, which is another Spanish style restaurant. Again, a really nice restaurant. Nothing kind of stood out as amazing about it. The service was great. So we had some tapas dishes to start with, and then for a main I had a beef in a red wine sauce, which was actually delicious. The churros with the chocolate sauce that they pour on them was amazing. The kids had that and they loved it too. Next was Ouzo, which I believe you could also go to all day, and this was the Greek restaurant. Again, we sat outside of this, but you could sit inside, and I loved the way this was decorated. It actually had all little pots hanging from the ceiling. The decor, honestly, I know I keep going on about the decor of the restaurants, but it was honestly incredible. So in the Greek restaurant, we had tapas or meze to start with. The zucchini bites with the tzatziki are a must. And then I had a lamb clatico, I think it was called, for my main, again, which was delicious. And then lastly, there is Flavours, which is the buffet restaurant. Now, I've only put this last just because it's the buffet restaurant, but actually for a buffet, it was incredible. We didn't eat there for dinner, but we had lunch there a couple of times and had breakfast there a couple of times. Our first day, actually, we went there for lunch and I didn't even have to move. The man said, I've just cooked a paella, would you like some? And he just brought us a big paella over to the table, which was incredible service. And yeah, breakfast was great. They had lots of choices of cereals, fresh fruits, all the cooked food as well, some sweet pastries. The breads were to die for. Honestly, I've literally put on so much weight since I've been on this holiday. Yeah, all of the food, I couldn't actually fault any of the food at this hotel. It was all outstanding, and as I mentioned, the best food that I've ever had in a hotel, especially stopping at an all-inclusive hotel. The food doesn't stop there. That's all the restaurants, but then throughout the hotel there's like an ice cream parlour. They sell ice creams and sweets and popcorn, which is really cool. It's just by where the family kids pool is, and then even when you're by the pool you can order pool snacks. So they've got a selection of, I think they've got like hot dogs, nachos, club sandwiches, chips, things like that. And then even when you're sitting there, they'll just bring over, I think one day he came over with a tray of donuts and then fresh fruit. Honestly, it's just like everything is revolved around eating and drinking, and the food is all just so good, it's hard to say no. So moving on to drinking. So there are actually 8 bars within the hotel, and what I really enjoyed was the wide selection of wines that they had on offer. There are actually 300 different wines throughout the hotels. When you go to some of the restaurants, they've each got their own wine list, which are matched to the different dishes on the menu. But if there is a particular wine that you do really enjoy, then they will do their best to go and find it for you and get it from a different restaurant. We actually did wine and cheese tasting whilst we was there, which was again was all included, and that was incredible. We got to try 7 different wines with cheeses and chocolates, and it was all run by their head sommelier in the Flavours restaurant. Learned so much about wine. We got to rate all the wines and obviously drink them all as well. And then if there were any wines like that you enjoyed, you could just ask them to bring them over, and we definitely have a couple of favourite wines. What I did also really enjoy is that you could have champagne. So for example, a couple of lunches, we had champagne with our lunch because why not, you're on holiday, and it's all served so you get the full bottle as well. You don't need to, you never pour yourself any drink. As soon as your glass is, you know, it's not even near empty, they're coming back over and they're refilling it for you, which I thought was great. They're always topping your water up. They're really attentive with like the kids drinks as well. So yeah, full top marks for their drink selection. They have a huge cellar in the Flavours restaurant where they've got all of the wines, and then the cocktails as well. The cocktails are some of the nicest cocktails that I've had. There's no pre-mixes or anything like that. They're all made properly. And if there is any particular cocktail that you like that you would normally drink, then you can just ask them to make it, tell them what's in it, and they will make it for you. All of these spirits are branded spirits, so it's none of the cheap alcohol or anything. My partner and our friend, they drank Jack Daniel's single barrel, and they had that, for example, as part of the all-inclusive, which normally you wouldn't get in other hotels. We spent a lot of the time in the evenings at the main bar. The main bar was stunning. It had a mirrored ceiling and this huge selection of alcohol, and then the views just over the ocean. Honestly, to sit there and watch the sunset was my favourite thing to do with a cocktail in the evenings. They do also have an adult only cocktail area. So me and my friend went over there one day while the dads had the kids and had a couple of cocktails, and it was really chilled over there. Obviously there's no kids there neither. Yeah, just a really nice vibe, and again, different cocktails on the menu. If you are going adults only. Next up, I wanted to talk about the pools and the beach. There are 6 pools, well 7 if you include the deluxe one. They're all pretty much in the centre of the hotel, all quite close to each other, and they're all heated pools as well, which is really nice. Don't quote me, but I believe they are all heated to 27 degrees. They're honestly like the perfect heat for when it's fairly warm. There's the kids splash pool, which has got some slides and is also fairly shallow. There's loads of little bits for the kids to play with in there. Then there is the family pool, which we probably spent most of our time at, which is basically gradually gets deeper and is in front of where Fresco is. There's then the central pool, which is a bit of a deeper pool, again is family friendly. Then there is a scented pool, so it's not really scented, but it's scented because around the edges they've got like lavender and herbs and things, and that's where they will do like water aerobics during the day. And then there's a couple of other pools towards the sea, which are also like infinity pools, much quieter down here, although technically they are all family friendly. Generally there's not really kids in them. Then there is an adults only pool, which feels like it's in quite a weird place actually, because it's almost like away from everywhere else, round by where the gym is, and that is obviously no kids in there, adults only, and it is very calm and quiet in there. Then there is the deluxe pool, so if you're stopping in the deluxe option, then that pool can be used only by the deluxe members, and I believe that has been recently built, and I have to say it did look stunning. Whilst I'm talking about pools, I just wanted to mention the sunbeds. So sunbed situation can always be a bit of a nightmare on holiday with people reserving beds, but I have to say that didn't happen. Obviously people reserve beds if they've gone to breakfast or whatever, but there was none of this getting up at 6 AM and running down to try and reserve a sunbed. The staff were actually quite on it as well if people were reserving sunbeds and then just leaving them all day. Obviously towels are all included, and you just walk down to the sunbed. As soon as you find a sunbed that you want to sit at, then the staff will come over with your towels, lay all your towels out, and the sunbeds themselves were so comfortable. They were really padded, none of the plastic like uncomfortable ones, really padded sunbeds, and they had their own little pillow as well. For each 2 sunbeds there was a parasol, and if you wanted that up or down they would do all of that for you. One day we wanted it down because I didn't want to be sat in the shade. My partner went to do it, and then they came over and I was like, no, you don't do it, we do everything. It's very much like that in the hotel. They want you to just relax and they will do everything for you. There's lifeguards at every single pool, which is really nice to know, especially if you've got kids with you as well. And then there is a beach. The beach is it's not shingles, but the sand, it's not like a white luxurious sand. There's little bits in it, and if you are going into the sea is not the night. It's not like a really clear sea. The sea's okay. A couple of days when we were there it was quite choppy, so they didn't have any of the water sports on, but you also have to navigate quite a few big, they're not rocks, like little pebbles, to get into the sea. So if you want to go into the sea, I'd probably recommend wearing sea shoes, especially if you've got children with you. Beach was probably the thing that let the hotel down the most. If you are a beach person, I probably wouldn't recommend this hotel, but the pools, in my opinion, more than make up for the beach. On to activities. If you want to go on holiday and do quite a lot of activities, then I'll go through what they are. I know some people don't necessarily want to do that, but if you do, again, especially if you have got children with you, then there are lots and lots of activities to keep everyone entertained. They're all generally in the same area, so you've got the tennis courts there where you can obviously hire your rackets. There's five-a-side football, there's some table tennis. My partner and our friend played this for quite a while, and you just hire the paddles. There's the basketball area, volleyball. There's also water sports, and I believe that you can hire the pedalo or go paddle boarding. It isn't something we did because we had quite young children with us. And there is also golf included, not at the hotel, but you get a complimentary green fee included at a local golf course. One of the people that we was with, he actually went and played golf. He said it was really good. The course was amazing, and then whilst you're there, it wasn't very far in a taxi. I think it was about 15 minutes in a taxi, and then you can obviously hire your clubs whilst you're there as well. And if you're into your fitness, they've got a fully equipped gym there. It's got treadmills, cross trainers, bikes. There's also a free weight section with like benches, and then some weight machines, as well as an outside gym. If well-being is more your thing, then there's a bit of a well-being platform where daily they will put on yoga or Pilates. Again, not something that I did, but if you are into that, then it's a really nice thing to do. There is also a spa in the hotel. You can actually use all of the spa facilities, which I didn't actually realise until I'd been to the spa. So they've got their own pool, you can go and chill out in there. They've got a sauna and everything. I just went in there for a treatment, which I have to admit the treatments are quite pricey. I had a full body massage and the massage was amazing. A few people there seem to have several treatments. Yeah, it's definitely worth treating yourself to a little spa treatment if you are there. There's also complimentary bike rental. We actually got bikes one of the days and cycled along the Esplanade on the way to Estapona. It was actually really nice. You can get kids bikes, adults bikes, and you can get the bikes with the kids seat on the back as well, which is what we got. You can hire them as many times as you want whilst you were there, and it was really nice actually to cycle along. It probably took about 40 minutes in total, but it was a really nice cycle along there, spent the day in Estapona and then came home in the evening. You also get included as part of your stay use of a Tesla. So if you're stopping, you can take the Tesla out for a day and go on a road trip somewhere. We actually went to Ronda for the day. It includes all of the car seats. You can also ask for a packed lunch as well, which is quite nice. They'll just give you a packed lunch with all of your food and drinking for the day, which you can then just pop into the boot. Entertainment wise, the entertainment was actually really enjoyable. They put shows on most evenings, and I mentioned that you get the PDF for what's on sent to you every single day, so you'll know what the entertainment would be. They had a Michael Jackson tribute one night, they had Motown, and they had a Disney show for the kids. Most of the shows start around 9 o'clock, and then they have earlier shows in the kids area which start from around 7:30. They have a white party, I think it's on a Wednesday or Sunday, I can't remember, where they'll have some like entertainment down by the beach area as well. As I mentioned, we went with children, so we had my 4-year-old daughter and our friends also have a 4-year-old son. So I just thought that I would mention briefly what the hotel has for kids. First of all, I would say the hotel is definitely geared towards families. I think you could definitely go if you are, there's just 2 adults, but there are a lot of kids at the hotel. It caters really well for families. The pools are great for the kids. The entertainment is really good. As I mentioned, they've got the disco over in the kids village, and they do actually have a whole mini village for kids. I think it's called the Heroes Village, and from around age 4 it's completely included. Kids can go there at various different times of the day where they can do lots of different activities. We actually took Arabella one day just to see what she would be like. She's never actually been to a kids club on holiday, so wasn't sure how she would get on, but she absolutely loved it. We dropped her off at, I think it was the 1 till 3:30 session, and she absolutely loved it, doing all the activities there. They were doing some crafting inside and they played outside, and they also take them for lunch with all of the other kids, which I thought was really cute. There is also a creche that you do have to pay for this one, and they take children from 4 months up until the 4 years, and then there's a teens area if you've got older children, again with age appropriate activities. At certain weeks throughout the summer, I know that they also run football academies, which is pretty cool if you've got someone who's really into football. They run a camp, I think it's 5 days, and they're run by ex-professional footballers, so you have people like Peter Crouch running them, and yeah, which I think if you've got a football mad child, then that must be amazing. And all the restaurants cater really well for children. All of the menus have a kids section on them, so they'll generally have 1 or 2 dishes that you would probably find on the main menu, but obviously smaller for children. And then they have the standard kids stuff like a pizza and some pasta and some ice cream and stuff as well. So yeah, and it's really handy for toddlers. If you have got children who are maybe weaning or toddlers and want their food more mashed, they have a toddler section in all of the menus as well. Again, the buffet restaurant for kids is incredible. There's a little lower down section where the kids can help themselves to what they want, and with loads of donuts, which the kids definitely enjoyed. Lastly, I just wanted to mention a few days out. So every single day there is a bus that comes to the reception. It's just outside of reception. I believe it's 10 AM and 1 PM, and there's a couple of buses that will take you either into Porto Banús or Estepona. We actually got the bus one morning into Porto Banús, which was lovely, where they've got all of the expensive yachts there, all of the designer shops. So we just had a little wander around there, which was, I mean, to be honest, it was enough just to go there for a couple of hours, and then we came back at 1 o'clock. As I mentioned, we also rode the bikes to Estepona, which is a stunning town, and would definitely recommend going. You can also do one of the dine out options there. We did actually eat at a restaurant there, and we didn't realise it was a dine out option until we got back, so we'd paid for it. But anyway, it was delicious. If you don't want to cycle there, then you can obviously get the bus or get a taxi, which, as it's not very far from the resort at all. I mentioned the car, so you can get the car for the day and take it wherever you want. We actually got the car to Ronda, I think it was called Roda, which was well worth the visit. I absolutely loved it there. It is quite far. It's probably around an hour in the car. Really nice views on the way there, but if you suffer from travel sickness, I probably wouldn't recommend it because it's a lot of really windy roads for nearly an hour. But yeah, if you don't mind that, then it's definitely worth the visit. And you can also go into Malaga for the day. The hotel will offer you complimentary passes to, I think there's a show and a museum that you can go to, and then obviously you're not that far from Marbella neither. So that is everything that I wanted to cover off with you today. I know this video has been quite long, but hopefully it's gave you a really in-depth review of the hotel. And, you know, these are just my personal thoughts and feelings on the hotel, but I know it's really useful to watch these. So hopefully you have found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Bye.